So we've had a number of conversations as we think about the world we're in right now and our role in the world, TSA's role in the world. And it sort of starts with the student, as everything starts with. And the fact that the student lives in a world that's changing on them pretty significantly and has things in it, social media, technology, others that are making it a very complicated journey for students. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the big thing that comes to mind is first the pandemic and how I think we all became accustomed to opting out of things. For our safety, for our well-being, for lots of important reasons, but adults and kids went about life differently after a while because everything was scary and school was pretty optional. Whether you turned your camera on during your Zoom classes was optional. So I really think that that has had a huge effect on everybody, including and especially humans who were growing up during COVID. And probably there's 17 other things that cause this opt-out mentality, but for whatever they are, there is a like underlying thought that maybe I don't have to do this. For all of us, I think.
For the basis of safety.
Yeah.
And also I just don't want to.
Yep.
And therefore, and because I'm sitting on Zoom,
Yeah.
there's no guardrails, I'm sort of sitting with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the specter of mental health, which is like, it might not be safe and it might not be good for me if it's hard, because there is an epidemic within mental health and it's real and kids are experiencing it, and because they know about it and hear about it and talk about it, it becomes outsized, larger than life, and it becomes part of what factors into why, whether or not they decide to do something.
Yeah.
So that all leads to the sort of like, I don't really do hard things.
Because I'm unconfident, it may not be safe, and I feel like I can opt out.
Yep.
Yep.
And so that MO of that's hard, I'm not going to do it, or I can't, or I won't, or I don't need to, don't have to, it's all at play every day. But from waking up in the morning and getting dressed to bringing what you need for your day to actually showing up at school, to going to class, to doing the homework, it's all under the influence of that mentality, I think.
Yeah.
So that is what we are seeing in a new way, and that is what we are grappling with. And I think every day is a delicate balance of pushing kids to do hard things because we know that's how you learn and grow, and being somebody that a child trusts, because it's, even if it's hard, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. One of the things that we've had a number of different taping sessions with the students, and a universal theme has come out, which is that, particularly this year, I understand, is that the level of kindness among students is very high here.
Yeah.
Which creates this environment of trust. And what was said, it creates this thing which is, failure is just one thing, and the next thing could be success.
Yeah.
And so now going from no, or I'm just not sure, to sure, I'll give that a whirl, is sort of the transition the students are making here.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah. I think students first see others and they decide what to think about somebody else who is doing something hard or growing or not growing, right? There used to be, even like 3 years ago, there used to be much more of a, they don't have to, so why do I?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think kids see other people and analyze other people before they analyze themselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's happening more and more, because we as a school have been more deliberate about getting kids to do this kind of thinking, is what do you need to grow? What do you want to do with your time here.
Right.
So I just really, like, in the past 3 years, I've seen kids go from looking at others and making judgments about what they see to an understanding that we're all here to do some significant amount of growing, and we don't want to waste our time, and everybody here cares, so now is a perfectly good time to stretch and push and question and try something and say yes. So yes, I see it. I've seen it for 20 years, but I see it. I have seen it shift, and I saw a real decline in kids' willingness to think about themselves and how they could step outside their comfort zone and grow. And now I've seen it really go back to a place that we want it to be.
So in our prior conversations, you've talked about this idea that one advantage we have as a small school is we get to really know the student. Because even though you're describing something that's common among students, each student is coming to us in a very different place, in a very different situation. And each one will carve a sort of a path of their own to get to a place where they take more risks and grow, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how that feels from your chair about seeing these students as in giving yourself the time to really get to know the students?
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's every adult who's here is here for the long game, which really, in the realm of what you're talking about, is being available for conversations over and over and over again in a sort of chipping away at mode. So it's like, yes, I have students that I've been pretty connected with since the very beginning, and I have been a witness, like a first-hand witness to their growth.
Yeah.
And I can track the conversations where I saw that happen. But every single one of us is doing that. So you know, there's this line, like, you should have one adult at school that you connect with. But here, it's not quite as discreet and contained as that. It's like every kid here over 4 years or 6 years or 3.5 or however long they're here experiences some number of adults having some number of conversations that chip away at that self-discovery, self-advocacy. And I mean, I'm thinking about a couple of seniors whose conversations with adults look really different than the adults they were having them with in 9th grade and the topic in 9th grade, because it's like it's a journey, and it takes time, and it morphs and changes, and you need different people in 12th grade than you needed in 8th grade.
Right. It's interesting because that was one of the sentiments they brought forward, which was the first time they took a walk with an advisor.
Yeah.
They were like, really? Do I have to do this thing? This is crazy. Why are they asking these questions? And then by the 5th time, they were looking forward to those walks. And because it was a moment where they had the opportunity to say what was on their mind or what they thought was on their mind, and begin that getting used to this idea that I can be in this conversation and I can get to be an advocate of myself and you know, sort of bring my hopes and ambitions and fears forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a perfect example of a moment where the student's instinct is, I don't really do this. I don't really connect with people in this way, or I'm not really right? We have, as young people, we come in with all of these statements that we've decided are true about us because we're growing up and figuring out who we are. And that was so aggravated by all the things, COVID, technology, mental health, right? I do not fill in the blank. I cannot fill in the blank. And I think a little bit as a school, we erred on the side of caution for a few years, where we were like, let's not tread into delicate waters. But we've sort of come out the other side and seen that we were not doing our best work because we were so cautious.
Yeah.
And actually what we do, like our sort of collective superpower, is say, okay, I hear you. I'm still going to ask you some questions. we're still gonna walk around, we'll just do 1 lap today around the soccer field,
Yeah.
right? Because we know it works over time.
Yeah, and the sense I get is that the students find their voice. At first they don't know their voice, they're not sure if they should have a voice, then they find their voice, and then they like their voice.
Yeah.
And then they like the voice, and they feel confident in the voice, so they want to use their voice more. I
Yeah.
can see, at least in my time here, that growth happen, that voice as feeling good in their skin, feeling good about who they
Yeah.
are, being an advocate of themselves, seeing themselves as so capable and having such high potential.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's interesting to think that a lot of the time that voice starts in a one-on-one conversation with an adult that you feel comfortable with. And over time, that conversation turns into something that the student is pushed to have on another level. Like, what would happen if you said that to your friend?
Yeah.
Or what would happen if you asked that question in class? So it's so like part of the atmosphere. Using one's voice to learn and understand and self-advocate becomes this thing that is like iterative and circular, and the audience becomes bigger and bigger and bigger as you grow.
Right.
Culminating in the graduation speech, which I'm so used to that sometimes I forget how unique and powerful it is.
Especially from where they started to that point, that amazing point.
And the incredible way that what we decide to say in their introduction is invariably echoed in their speech, the speech that follows.
Yeah.
We do not coordinate, you know. I glance at their speeches 24 hours before graduation to make sure they are on paper. But it is astonishing to me how they discover what it is that we want to introduce